The Marcia Week Show. It's the Marcia Week Show. From Barbados to Africa, voices unite. Educate minds, elevate sight. It's the Marcia Week Show. It's the Marcia Week Show. From Barbados to Africa, voices unite. Educate minds, elevate sight. It's the Marcia Week Show. Talk truth, build roots, stories unfold. Motivate change, mobilize is the mode, that's the MR code. Hey, we growing, we know it.
Good evening, boys and girls, and welcome to the Marcia Week Show. You just heard, I love when the flag flies like this in the air. Oh my goodness. The pride of Barbados. You just heard the national anthem of Barbados, and I have in my hand, blowing in the wind, the national flag of Barbados. It is a wonderful night. Wonderful day to be alive. It's Monday, June 15th, and we have a packed show for you tonight full of education. Emma is shining tonight. It's education, it's motivation, it's mobilization, and it's agitation all the way through tonight, baby. I tell you. So you better gather around, make sure you like and you share. Tonight, our topic is who is really in control? Who is really in control? Because we're hearing some things and we're seeing some things and we have some questions about what is happening. For example, BIMPay. Who is this really serving? Are we serving international bodies here? You know, who is really in control? Is it that people are in this, are being puppets on a string? Who is protecting Barbadians? Right? We're asking, those are some of the questions that we're asking tonight. But that's not the only thing that is happening on the Marcia Week's show tonight. As I told you, there's education that is going to be happening. And tonight, oh, it was so good last week. It was so great. We had to do it a second time. We had to do it a second time, I tell you guys. And that is Mr. Maurice Gaskin is here with us. And he is going to be talking to us about rodents again. Who would have known that having a session about rodents could be that interesting? And I think it's because of the way he teaches. I wonder if he considers himself a teacher, because he does such a great job. So he's on tonight, and we have our attorney on with us in our legal corner. We have our attorney, Corey Beckles, is on tonight, and he is coming fully loaded again tonight. So have your questions. I know some of you didn't get your questions answered last time, but he's coming again. The rights of beneficiaries, estate without a will. What if there's an estate without a will? Who have the rights? What do you do? And so he's going to continue what he did last week. Because of your questions, he did not get very far. And then at 8:30, we are hoping, with fingers crossed, that Dr. Derek Alleyne will be able to join us. But if not, we have so much material to fill that spot tonight, folks. We have a whole history on Barbados oil to do. Plus, we have to talk about the press conference today. How many of you heard that press conference today? How many of you were listening to that press conference today? Oh my goodness, when the central bank governor, in my opinion, insulted the media, the reporter who was asking a simple question: how much does BIMPay cost? What's the bill? They're asking on behalf of the taxpayer. So we're going to look into that, and we're going to also evaluate the press conference and just examine it to see whether did they answer all of our questions, because I saw lots of questions were in the comment section, and a lot of them went not answered, just like how that reporter was not answered, because the feeling is that who are you to ask any questions, you little minions? So they didn't answer the question. So we're going to read those questions from the comment section. Mind you, these questions are going to be taken straight from the comment section of the press conference, and we're going to read them on the show, because I know the government watches this show, which is good. We might be able to get some changes. All right. But before we go any further, let me just use the time to welcome Judy. Hi, Judy. Judy was locked on from 3:50 p.m. Hey, Teroni. Hey, Annette Brewster, Monica Inns, Sharon. How's Sharon doing? Good evening, Sharon. Sharon, don't let those people get to you. Don't get in anything with them either in this day and age, okay? Be careful. Mavis Lashley, good evening. Hey, Wayne. Marcia Miller, good evening, Marcia. Charmaine Taylor. Andrea Critchlow, good evening. Good evening. I'm a big girl. Lori Bob. Hey, oh, Lori. Hey, Lori, how you doing? Hey, Shirley. Dinah husband, Lucinda Alleyne. Annette Brewster. Jacqueline. Hey, Jacqueline, I'm going to see you on Thursday with the literacy program that we're doing. Elevate, the literacy program. Hey, Dalton. Hey, Trevor. How are you doing? Trevor Seeley's doing a great work as well. When he's ready, Trevor, you know you can come on here and you can engage the audience on this show. Hey, Dalton. Jonathan Clark, how are you doing? I hope you're feeling better. Yes, thank you, Mavis. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, Matthew B., please share. Please share. Everybody share. This is very important. Heathcliff, I have not seen you in ages. That is amazing. It's so great to see your calendar. Good evening. Mystic Angel, how are you? I haven't seen you in a little bit either. Well, not early that I could call your name. Joyanne Roberts. Okay, I hope I didn't miss anybody, because we so appreciate every single one of you who join on an evening. Wow, this is awesome. But before we jump into all of this evening, I want to talk to you about Dinner with Dad. Dinner with Dad is our community initiative. You know, that's what we do here on this show. We do Emma. We educate, we motivate, we mobilize, and we agitate. All right. And so we have not been going out for a lot of marches recently, but we're doing a lot of mobilizing in the communities. Yes. Because that's part of our mandate. And so Dinner with Dad is a community event, and it's paid for by you, the community. Today people are donating. You know, oh my goodness, we should I tell them the menu? Oh Lord, the menu is coming together. Thank God for Chipmunk is supplying us with chicken, you all. They agreed today. We wrote to them, told them what we're doing, and they said we like it. And so Chipmunk is going to be giving us chicken for Dinner with Dad, which is coming up on Saturday evening at 5:30. And you know, it's amazing to see how people are donating. We've gotten our, you know, caterers are coming on board, let's put it like that, and they are preparing different things and so on. Not too many people, caterers, official caterers. And let me tell you, it is amazing. I want to thank Paul is going to be going up to the school to set up our small stage. We have a small stage because we do have awards that we're going to be issuing to our fathers. We are going to bestow a special recognition on our fathers. And these are fathers who are 40 years old and under. 40 years old and under. Those are the fathers that we are celebrating on Saturday at 5:30 p.m. at Seafa House, Upper Column Rock. So it is by invitation only. So if you have a 40-year-old father in your life, it could be a son, a grandson, or a friend, and you want to recommend them, you just call us 236-7000. We do have a few more spaces, so you can call us. Okay. What we're doing is not a lecture. It is not a fundraiser. It is a celebration of our fathers, of their contribution as young fathers. And so far, they are so excited, I tell you. They are calling their friends and say, well, I want my friend to come as well. And you can bring each father, you can bring your daughter or your son with you, your child. So it's Dinner with Dad, a Father's Day celebration of love, legacy, and family. And it is presented by the community. Yes, the Marcia Week Show is heading it, and it's being also, in collaboration with Praise Academy, because it's being held at that facility. But it's a community. There is no politician that has given us one single dollar. No political party. It is coming straight from the people of Barbados. They are supplying all that we need for this, so that we can indeed be an encouragement to our dads. Now, you may ask, Marcia, I know you're asking me, what else? Is there anything else that you need? Yes. And I'm so glad that you asked. I am thrilled that you asked. Marcia, what else do you need? Well, here we go. So what we need some tents. You can see how the weather is. So we need a 20 by 20 tent. Do you have a 20 by 20 tent just, at home or in your business, and you're not using it and you want to lend us? We don't want it. We just want to borrow it, and we're going to make sure that you get it back. Right? We want to make sure that you get it back. Okay. Right. So we need some chairs as well. We need about 40 chairs. We do have some chairs, but it's not enough. So we need some chairs as well, and some serving tables. All right. We need some serving tables. If that's you, you probably have a catering company, or you might be a church and you're listening and saying, you know, like there's a church that's getting in on this as well and helping as well. So because it's community, right? It's a community that's involved. So we need 40 chairs, we need some 6-foot tables, we need some serving tables, we need 220 by 20 tents, because when we get these things, what the funds that we've collected, we can use it to buy some small gifts for the fathers. Every father, we want them to leave with a Father's Day gift. So we want to use the money on the fathers. What do you think about that idea? Spending the money on the fathers themselves, okay? Right? Okay. And then we want to print the Father Recognition Awards and Father's Day cards. Somebody out there might say, Marcia, I want to donate some Father's Day cards. How about that? Do you have a business and you want to give a gift certificate to these young fathers? Yes, that would be wonderful. That would be wonderful. No contribution is too small. You might say, Marcia, I don't have the all these things, but I want to give a financial donation. Give me a call, 236-7000. The number is right there, 236-7000. Give me a call. Now, remember, as I said earlier, the father can bring one child. So, you know, I know you probably have a lot of children, okay? But you can only bring one. Choose one. Choose one. So it's a dinner, and we're not eating off no paper plates and all of that, you know. Don't even think that. We've got donated proper plates, proper plates. You hear what I tell you? Proper utensils, stainless steel, I tell you, glasses. Woo! I'm excited. I'm excited for our fathers, 40 years and under. So 2 tents, 20 by 20 tents, okay? And it's going to be an amazing, amazing evening. Yes, an amazing evening. So please, everybody, you know, I'm reading some of your comments. But Trevor Seeley, are you 40? Unless you're coming to help. Are you coming to help? You have to be 40 years and under. All right. If you're not 40 years and under, you're not coming. You have to show your ID. All right. So we are looking forward to that. And anything, any donations, you know, somebody called me and they said, Marcia, guess what? I have a business and I want to give you a gift basket as a door prize. So we have this gift basket for this special father that is going to get this gift basket. But apart from that, we want every father to leave with a gift. What do you feel about that, guys? What are your thoughts? We do this as a community, you know, because that idea came from you guys, you know. How many of you agree that every father needs to get a gift, a Father's Day gift? Oh, you're saying he's 40. Trevor is 40 at heart. You have to be 40 years and under. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh wow. Well, folks, I really hope that you know, this is something that we will support, whether it's by prayer or just, you know, any donation. Nothing is too small. And we do this as a community, and we take pride in doing it as a community, as we did our marches, where we did not take money from politicians. We did not take money from political parties. We did not take money from government. All of our initiatives, it comes from the people. And this is what we are continuing. It's in that same spirit. Okay? Folks, I would like for you to go ahead for me and to like and share. I want to give you a little moment to like and share. We have a great show lined up for you in a couple of minutes. Mr. Gaskin is going to join us, and I'm looking forward to it because he has me starting to wear gloves in the garden, believe it or not. I try sometimes. I did more times than not. So, Mr. Gaskin, you got somebody here that you, because of you, I'm very conscious about wearing gloves and looking where what I'm doing and being, in the garden, etc. Now, so he's coming up. Now Dave has Elevate on the screen, and we're looking for volunteers, etc. for Elevate. All right, so we are looking for volunteers for Elevate, and Elevate is a literacy program where we're teaching children to read, and that is some of what you see that's happening there in Bel Air, St. Philip. Okay. And that's somebody from the community that came in, and she's working with a little girl who is in class 2. And so we continue to ask you to get involved. Yes. Okay. Oh, Matthew, so sorry about that. Matthew misses his dad. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Somebody said they come to hear about the central bank. We will. We're going to get there towards the end of the show, right? We're going to get there. We're going to get there. All right. But as we're talking about, on the screen, you're seeing the pictures of what's happening at this community literacy program that has started called Elevate, that we, the citizens, have started it. In Bel Air, St. Philip, and also in Colin in St. Michael. I want to talk about the World Bank report. How many of you saw that? The World Bank report. If you read the World Bank report, or you know about the World Bank report, let me see your hand up, please. Let's put up a hand. Over the last few days, many of us, we would have seen the headline in the Sunday Sun that said failing grade. The article is based on a World Bank report which says that Barbados' education system is at a critical juncture. And the report is very damning, I tell you. The report points to concerns about literacy, numeracy, educational outcomes, inequalities within the system, and particularly the high number of students repeating 5th form. According to the report, approximately 22% of students repeat 5th form. And the World Bank estimates that repetition consumes between, according to them, 1.2 and 1.5% of education budget each year. So you know where they're going with this. They're saying the repeating of 5th form is consuming 1.2 to 1.5% of the education budget each year. Now, we have some important questions that we need to raise. If children are leaving primary school without strong reading and mathematical skills, we need to know why. If students are reaching secondary school already behind, we need to know why. If large numbers of young people are leaving school without qualifications, we need to know why. Those are legitimate questions, which I think is what's happening with the repeating, because some of these schools, if they don't allow the students to repeat, they're going to leave without any qualifications. Why is that? What is going on? You see, though the report, we understand what the report is saying and we accept it. Okay, this is what the World Bank that they have found, and they have found that it's a significant cost. You see, but education in Barbados has never just been about dollars and cents. Never. Which is why you have free education, which some other Caribbean countries do not have that. I know that, I'm not sure if the World Bank knows that education is really what built modern Barbados, Would you agree with that? because education created opportunities for thousands of ordinary Barbadians. Education helped create the middle class. So can you imagine if education was about dollars and cents? What would happen to the middle class? Education gave children from humble communities an opportunity to become teachers. You know that. Look at your family. Teachers, nurses, accountants, lawyers, business owners, and leaders. So while the report asks what it costs to keep a student in school for another year, perhaps as Barbadians, we should ask, what does it cost when that student leaves school unable to read properly? I need to say that again. The World Bank is calculating what it costs to keep that fifth form student in school for another year. Possibly the question that Barbados should really be asking is, what does it cost when that student leaves school unable to read properly? What does it cost when that student cannot find meaningful employment? Or what does it cost when that student becomes disconnected from society? What does it cost when educational failure contributes to unemployment, hopelessness, and crime? I happen to believe those costs matter too. Do you? It's not just a financial cost, but it's a social cost. Another question that I think that we need to ask Barbadians surrounding this fifth form repetition. At some schools in Barbados, a repeat year is not simply about sitting in the same classroom and you're doing the same work again. You know, you have schools like St. George Secondary. I'm told that some of these students receive additional support, like skills training, work exposure, and they get more time to mature and prepare for adulthood, especially boys, because especially our boys, they mature a little later than our girls. So the question then, my other question become, are we measuring the true value of that additional year? If I could talk to the World Bank, if I had a seat at the table with the World Bank, I would ask, are we measuring the true value of the additional year? Or are we only measuring the financial cost? Yeah, these are some of the things that we have to look at, and we're just doing this on the radar. We're touching on it because the report also state that student enrollment has declined while teachers' numbers have increased. So are they saying that Barbados have too many teachers? I think some of us who I'm not in the teaching system, in the education system in that sense. I offer lessons and so on. But it seems to me, well, as you talk with the students, that there seems to be a shortage more in areas like mathematics, science, technical and vocational education, and special needs. So I was a little bit confused about that. It didn't resonate with me that we have more teachers than students. Because when you talk to a lot of the parents and some of the educators, they will tell you that there are still subject areas that where qualified teachers are difficult to find. Sometimes students will tell me, ma'am, I have not had a geography teacher in so long. Yeah. So these are just some questions we want to talk. It's not politics. It's about the future of our children. Whoever was in power, we would still need to speak about this World Bank report. And we're only mentioning it tonight. We have to get deeper in it another night. This is about, we're talking about our future workforce, the future of Barbados, right? So we're going to be launching a series of discussion And hopefully if you're a past educator and you want to be on the show, let us know. We want to talk with former principals and former administrators, or you're an education administrator, you're a parent, you're a former policymaker. I know if you're a current policymaker, you're not going to want to come on because some of you are afraid that you might lose your jobs because of the climate that we're in. Yeah. And the reason we're doing this series is that we believe that before we decide what changes we need to make to education, we must first understand what education has meant to Barbados, what it means today, and what we need it to become tomorrow. So I want you to stay with the Marcia Week Show. We've already had the series worked out. We need, we need those who were former educators, former principals, former education administrators, former policymakers to join us on a panel, and we will take the whole summer to deal with this. Okay. Well, we are going to move right into our next segment tonight. And again, just before he comes to us, I'm going to kindly ask you to like and share. Go ahead and like and share. This is a valuable information that could save a life. And this is coming out of our health corner. We're calling it our health corner. And it's none other than Mr. Maurice Gaskin. Good night, Mr. Gaskin. Please undo your mic. Unmute your mic, please.
Good evening, Marcia. Good evening to all viewers, all listeners. I'm very happy to be on again. I'm very pleased with the persons who have met me and say they really enjoyed the show. But is it possible you could permit me just before going to the lecture on rodents to speak about the education just for about 2 minutes?
Of course, and because you did that, I want to ask you publicly that when we are ready to assemble the panel, we're doing a 10-week panel discussion on this. I'm going to ask you to be part of it because I could tell that this is a strong point for you. But go right ahead.
Listen, I went to school at LSE School between 1968 and 1974, and that class had about 30 very intelligent students.
Yes, sir.
And I used to come around 25th out of 30 because I had no electricity at home.
Oh, wow.
So I had to come home before the sun go down to do my homework. And if I come home and did the homework after 5 o'clock, I had to use a lamp. And the lamp used to soot. And I had to, when it's hot, had to let it cool down and clean it. So I could not compete with persons who had electricity, and my house did not even have water. I had to go to the standpipe to bring water.
Yes,
so
sir.
I could not compete. So what I'm saying is that we have to look at, there's some, as an environmental health officer going around at houses and so on, we have seen some things that will shock you. And we have to look deeper as to the reason why these persons are repeating fifth form. I'm happy to say that I came out and I said, well, I was in a very good class. I saw a motto at the Milton Lake School which said, we build the ladder by which we rise.
I love that.
Yes, we build a ladder by which we rise. And he said, you know what? I went to a school who was in a very bright form competing. Don't let me stop at the bottom. And I'm happy to say that you mentioned I should consider teaching. So I'm happy to say that leaving RZ school without any certification, I went on to the Barbados Community College. I went there 4 times. I went to BIMPay. I went to the University of the West Indies. Actually, I went to all 3 in 1 year, BIMPay, University of West Indies, and Community College in 1 year.
Yes.
I also studied at the Pedro Corey Institute in Havana, in Cuba. I also study at the School for Parasitic Diseases in China, and
Wow.
also the Vector Control Unit in Martinique. I have trained over 500 Ross University medical students. I have trained over 225 UWI students from the UWI that work at the hospital and elsewhere. And I've also trained over 250 nurses associated with the Barbados Community College. So what I'm saying is you don't have to remain down there. You go on, you advance, you look at where you came from. And I'll be happy to be part of the panel. My first job, I was a general worker, and I started at $40 per week making mattresses. And when I leave the public service, I was actually working for $40 per hour.
Wow. So you took that ladder. You took that ladder.
We build the ladder by which we rise.
You build. Wow. I like that. Was that a motto for the school?
It's at the Milton Lynch School. We build the ladder by which we rise.
Wow. I love that.
Yes.
I'm writing it down.
Right. Right. So I've done a lot of teaching. Actually, I'm retired now, and one of the things that I miss is teaching. So I'm very happy that you have invited me to come and share my knowledge and teach here. Right.
Yeah, because we have go right ahead.
Right. I want to begin the rodent presentation by telling you, you need to not go into your kitchen garden early in the morning. You need to go around 10, 11 o'clock when the sun is out, because the leptospira organisms thrive in the dew from the wetness of the rain and so on. So you need to be careful. I have seen, for those of you who are listening to me, I have seen a number of persons selling cane and dumps at some of these roundabouts. You need to be very careful with that. What we have observed is sometimes you get persons like in the night going and picking dumps, putting them in the bucket, leaving them under the tree, and then in the morning they come early and fly down a van. Hey, and get onto the van and go and sell these dumps. You need to be very careful purchasing dumps and cane, because you could catch leptospirosis and even hantavirus. So you need to be very careful. For those of you who have trees, coconut trees, you could invest with some sheet metal, and you place it at least 4 feet off the ground, at least 18 inches in width, so that when the rodents try to go up in the tree, it is very smooth and they will not be able to go up. Last week I mentioned about collecting rodent bait from 7 polyclinics out of 9. The only polyclinic that you will not collect the bait from is Agar Cochrane and the Glebe. This is the bait, Brigand bait. You will be able to get 2 packs. And if you're having mice at your premises, my suggestion would be to get the small pet bottles, and you cut at least 3 of them. And you place one by the stove, one by the fridge, and one by the cupboard. Because what happens is a rat will come and eat it belly full one time, one feeding. Mice are very stupid. What do we do? Even though they're getting the same bait, they will nibble at the one by the stove, they go and nibble by the one by the fridge, and then they run nimble by the one by the cupboard. So when they do that, they need to move around to get their full feeding of the bait to kill them. What I did not mention last week, this is baking soda. So for those of you, I mentioned last week about zinc phosphide. That is a very dangerous bait that I said the ministry used to have a fast knockdown, quick knockdown, which take about 3 hours to kill the rodents. This baking soda, one of my colleagues came up with this idea. Don't know where he got it from, but he came up with this idea using baking soda, and the formula is 2 teaspoonfuls of baking soda to 1 teaspoonful of Milo or Ovaltine or baby formula to sweeten it up. And you could put it down just how you would put down the brigand bait. If you don't have the brigand bait, the rodenticide, you could mix the baking soda with the baby formula or Milo or Ovaltine, and it should be dry. And you could place it in the pet bottles, place it by the stove, the fridge, and also by the cupboard in a dry form. And when the rat or the mouse go and consume that baby formula mixed with the baking soda, it actually works like the zinc. It creates a gas within the rodent and stop the rodent from passing near and also from belching. And that works just like it creates what we call farfine gas to kill the rodents. I just want to touch on how you would identify rodents. Rodents are extremely clever and smart animals. So how you identify them is by seeing them. And as I say, if you see them during the day, then you should be more concerned because the sunlight interferes with the eyesight, and they're very active during the night and they see better at night. So in terms of rodent infestation, seeing them, especially during the day, tells you there is rodent infestation. I mentioned last week the droppings. The mouse dropping is rod shaped like a pencil. The droppings of the rat that live in the tree, the droppings are spindle shaped like a banana. And the rat that lives on the ground, the Rattus norvegus, the droppings are capsule shaped. What you should also look for is what we call gnawing marks. There's a distinct pattern when the rat or mouse bites something. There's a particular pattern with the biting. And now that I'm on biting, you should not leave out none of your food stuff. Bread, biscuits, food, exposed during the night. You should place it in your fridge, in your cupboard, or invest in a nice plastic container that is covered. And the first thing you should do, seeing that the rodents may be out in the night while you're sleeping, is to mix some bleach water, at least a half gallon of bleach water with 3 or 4 caps of bleach, and you wipe down your countertops. Another thing you should look for is what we call smudge marks. The rat and the mouse carry oil on the skin. So when they will not walk across a room, if you say there's food in a room, in a corner, they will not walk across the room. What they want to do is walk and have their body on the side of the wall or the partition, so to speak. And while they're doing that, because they want to travel back that same area, the oil goes on the side of the wall and leave a black mark called a smudge mark. We in environmental health, when we are doing inspections of food shops and different areas where we suspect that there is rodent infestation, we use a lamp called a black lamp. It's a UV light which you use to detect rodent urine. Counterfeit money. We use that same light to detect rodent urine. So when we turn on that light and we pass it across any areas that we suspect that rodents would have traversed, if the rat had urinated, say around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock today, the UV light fluoresces blue, a very dark blue. And if the rat had urinated, say around 5:30 this evening, between 5:30 and now, when we spot that light, because the urine is pretty fresh, that light illuminates in a pinkish orange type color, and that's how we detect rodent urine. The sound. When a rat enter, as I say, they're very clever animals. And when a rat enter any space, any building space, the first thing it does, a rat or mouse, is to squeak, 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 squeak. And the reason why it squeak is that when it squeak inside the building and the sound bounce back, when it squeaks and the sound bounces back to the ears, it means that there's no clear passage. They cannot proceed further. If the sound don't bounce back, it means that there's a opening, a window or something that if you run it, it could get away. So those are some of the things that you could detect in terms of rodent infestation. The polyclinics, as I said, there's a program going on right now. I mentioned last week there are about 13,000 derelict vehicles and about 14,000 dilapidated houses. And the Ministry of Health, in association with the Ministry of the Environment, the Environmental Protection Department at Dalkeith, they're working to eliminate these cars and houses. And the person there is Mr. Danny Ford. And the number is 535 4633 or 4600. 535 4633 or 4600. And you could give him a call anywhere around 2:30 at the Ministry Environmental Protection Department, located at Dalkeith by the National Union of Public Workers there in Dalkeith. And what they do, they would come and investigate, and they will place notice on the house or the vehicle, giving the owner of that vehicle or property 21 days to make some sort of adjustment or alterations to the vehicle or the house. If that is not done, then the Environmental Protection Department then reach out to someone for tender, and then that house is demolished or the vehicles are removed. So that is the program. I've seen a lot of the vehicles being removed. I think just before I leave the ministry, Bees Recycling were coming around and taking up vehicles, but you had to remove the battery and the tires and just leave a shell, and they will collect it and they ship out, I think, about 2 containers per week to countries overseas, so that they could do recycling. So a lot of these new cars you're seeing coming in is actually some recycled material from these vehicles. As I said, these vehicles attract rodents and also attract mosquitoes, and they could cause fires because some of these vehicles are put down with diesel and gasoline in them, and there also is unsightly and also devalue your property. There's a video that I have that sometime we down in the future I will show you, where rodents, a rat could go into a manhole in the road and end up in your toilet. Yes, it could go through the sewage pipes. It could survive when you flush the toilet, survive a lot of water. It could hold its breath underwater for at least 3 minutes. Extremely dangerous. Another thing about rodents is that a rat, someone call you a rat, that's a big insult because a rat would do anything to survive. And if you have young ones and it's hungry, it would even eat the young ones once it's hungry.
Oh my God.
Extremely dangerous animals. And as I mentioned last week, hantavirus, you need to mix some bleach water. The stronger you have it, the better. You sprinkle the areas around your doghouse, sprinkle the areas around your premises. If you're storing bottles, you're storing anything in your yard and so on, you need to sprinkle the bleach with the bleach water and leave it for at least 20 minutes before you remove any of the things. And it's better to mop instead of sweeping, because it's when you disturb the dust, which will carry the rat saliva, feces, and urine. Another thing that I want to mention is that it is dangerous sometimes. Rats build nests in trees, and sometimes
Trees.
in trees. And there are some trees that rats go up and build nests. So sometimes it's dangerous for you when the rainfall to shelter under some trees, because obviously with the rain falling and the rainwater going to the nest and so on, you could get the leptospira urine dropping down on you and so on. So you have to be careful when you're sheltering under trees.
But
Going
can I
out.
ask you a question? Somebody's asking if J's fluid. If you don't have bleach, can you use J's fluid?
Yes, you could use gel, sure, but I tend to, but you have to use a lot. But I tend to like to use bleach.
Bleach is
Bleach
better.
is extremely effective. You know, we what persons don't know is that when I was at the viticulture unit, part of my job was to send persons overseas that die here in Barbados, and a lot of different homes they use bleach. Bleach is extremely effective in terms of dealing with blood and different tissues and so on.
That's
Bleach,
better.
yes.
So even if you have dogs and you want to wash down, it's better to wash down. It's more effective to wash down with the bleach than the
with,
J's.
yeah, with the bleach. You can use a
Okay.
gel fluid also, but it's best to use the bleach. And as I said, half gallon of water, 3 or 4 caps of bleach will be effective, and you sprinkle and you leave it there for a while, because you don't want to harm the dog also, and as I said last time, around 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the evening, any food that's left out in the yard, you need to remove it, put in a plastic bag, take it in the house, put it in the garbage. You take the dog pan, both the water and the food pan, and you wash it and you turn it down, so that when the rats come out at night, there's no food for them to eat. Because in 2012, I was quoted on CBC. We did testing for dogs. We did blood testing for 120 dogs, and about 81 tested positive for leptospirosis. And sadly, a lot of them died because when the rat come out and is eating the dog food during the night, it is scared. So while it's eating, it urinate and defecate at the same time. And then when the dog go and consume some of that food, then they also could come up with leptospirosis. So that is my advice for persons who have dogs to remove the food in the evening.
A question for you though: can other animals? Somebody's saying that you can other animals transmit leptospirosis, like chickens.
Yeah, dogs, pigs, cows, and so on.
And chickens.
Well, we haven't seen that chickens would have transmitted, but I know dogs and cats and pigs and so on. What I could share with you, I know one of my colleagues, a former colleague. He was living in the country, and he was walking under a coconut tree on his premises. The coconut came down and hit him on his shoulder, and within hours he was hospitalized. The coconut came down to the tree, had the electrospiralism, hit him on his shoulder, and made a cut, and he was hospitalized for about a week with leptospirosis from that coconut coming down out of the tree and striking him on his shoulder. It is when you have the abrasion, and that is why I say if you are going out in the yard, you should have on preferably rubber boots. If you don't have rubber boots, you should not have slippers on. You should wear enclosing shoes. You should, if you're doing gardening, it's best to have on a long sleeve shirt and a dust mask, and you should have on gloves. And as I said, you should not venture out in your kitchen garden until around 10:30, 11, when it's outside is hot. Outside is pretty hot, because the heat kills the leptospiral organism. One of the things that you need to do, crop over is coming up, and when you go to purchase food, we also advise persons to stand up and observe. You should stand up, don't rush and go and buy. You should stand up and observe the practices of persons. Look at whether they have on the hairnet, have on a cap, they shouldn't have on arm out, should not have on a short pants, should not have on slippers, should have on long pants, and so on. They should not even have on strong perfume, because once you're barbecuing and the heat extracts the odor from the strong perfume, and when you buy the hot dog or you buy the chicken, then you have your tongue burning you, because it extract the scent of the strong perfume onto the food to which you're eating. So right. So rodents, as I said, extremely dangerous. As I said, using the baking soda. In terms of the polyclinics, the jurisdiction, as I mentioned, from Hastings to up in Oldbury and St. Philip is Hastings. The number for Randall Phillips Polyclinic, which services that catchment, is 536-4314, right up to 4320. That is the Randall Phillips Polyclinic. For those who live between Highgate Hall and Fortescue and St. Philip, 536-4240, right up to 4249. For those who live in the David Thompson catchment, which is St. Joseph and St. John, and a part of St. George, is 536-4443. For those who live in the Maurice Bay catchment, which is St. James, St. Lucie, St. Peter, and St. Andrew, is 536-3210 or 3214. For those who live in the Brantford catchment, which is from Swan Street to Old Town, it is 536-3719 or 3720. For Winston Scott, it's 536-3469 or 3473. And Winston Scott go from Woolworth to Sheraton in Christchurch. And for those who live in the Eunice Gibson catchment, which is from Eagle Hall to Hillaby, it is 536-4340, right up to 4347.
Are you saying those numbers out of your head, sir?
Right out of my head.
Oh my gosh. That is amazing. And he's retired, That
Right.
is amazing, folks. This again, you're blowing my mind because I am sitting here, and I'm thinking about my last question to you is the garden, because I'm
Yeah.
in the garden a lot,
Mhm.
and I had some melons. I was growing melons, and then I went and I saw the melons. As soon as I got to like about my fist, something ate them. I assumed it was a monkey, but
I glad. I'm very glad you mentioned about the.
we have 3 minutes, but we can pick this up another time. But go ahead.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm very glad you mentioned about the melons. When you put down the brigand bait,
Yes.
how it kills the rat is that when the rat consumes the bait, the rat has vitamin K in its blood, and the bait depletes the vitamin K and cause the rat to bleed to death. Watch how clever rodents are. If you have melon, cucumbers, parsley, kale, spinach, and the rat eat the bait, those things have vitamin K and replaces the vitamin K in the blood of the rat. And
Mm.
then this bait will not work too well.
Wow.
And also mangoes carry vitamin K. And that is why you have to use if you use the baking soda along with the Merlot or the baby formula or Ovaltine, then even if they go and eat the green vegetables, they will still die. But the
Oh,
mangoes and parsley and those green vegetables and cucumbers would pose a problem for you. And what you need to do when you put down when you're doing your garden, you should get the PVC pipe and place the bait or the same baking soda during the what we call the hedgerow, during the rows of the kitchen garden. You should put down the bait and to allow them to eat that instead of eating your kitchen garden produce.
wow. This is oh my God. Can you just repeat the last thing you just said, because I got distracted and I want to hear. You said to put down a what
I'm,
instead?
I'm saying that you should get at least a few pieces of PVC pipe, 4 inch or 6 inch, and you get the baking soda. It's cheap. Baking soda is cheap. It's here. Look,
Mm-hmm.
available at any supermarket, any hardware.
Yeah.
And the formula is two teaspoonfuls of the baking soda to
Mm-hmm.
1 teaspoonful of the Merlot or Ovaltine or baby formula, and you mix it dry and you place it in the PVC pipe along with the same rodenticide, and you place it in what you call the hedgerow in the areas where you're planting your produce, so that they will eat this instead of going to trouble your
Wow.
your watermelons and so on. I remember going in St. Philip, and the guy was telling me he could not reap any okras or any watermelons. And I went up there evening with a team, and I baited for him in St. Philip. And um, he about the next 3 weeks or so, he gave me about 10 pounds of okras. Tell me that was the first time that he was able to reap. He was
Well,
able
I
to reap any of the produce because I went up there and bait, and I actually used some of the zinc too, and it killed off all of the rodents, and he was able then to reap his melons and his okras and so on.
wow.
Yeah.
Listen. I know we want to go on to other things next week, but Lord, I have you every time. See, whatever you talk about, we try to follow that, Dave and I, we listen, and then we go on, because I have my garden there, and we want to make sure we're safe in the garden, etc. So thank you so much. As somebody says, fantastic information. Mondays, when it comes to Mondays, it's so much information. Mr. Gaskin, thank you, and we are going to stay in touch. All
Right.
right.
And next time we can look at mosquito control, which is even more interesting.
Yeah, because that is coming up now that
That will
rainy
rainy
season.
season. Yes, you're going to have the dengue cases and chikungunya and all these different cases coming up.
Yes.
So I will be grateful to come and speak on the mosquito control, which is even more interesting than the rodent one.
Yes, yes.
Right.
Well, as somebody says here, as you go, Mr. Gaskin is phenomenal with his knowledge and has been helping so many people across the country for years. It's true. And whenever you feel stuck with a problem with the garden, he always has the answers.
Right.
Well,
Yes.
thank you. I got my gloves right there for tomorrow morning, and
Right.
I'm changing. I'm making changes. Okay, I
Right.
am making changes.
Right.
God bless you. Thank you so much, Mr. Gaskin.
And thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure, a real pleasure.
Bye
And
bye.
you look good tonight. Your
Thank
background
you.
looks good, and you
Thank you.
sounded great, and it
Yes.
looks professional.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you. All right. Thanks very much. Yeah.
God bless. Bye bye. Guys, I'm loving Mondays. I'm learning. I love to learn. And we're ready now. We're going a mile a minute, because we have with us our attorney. It's now our attorney, Mr. Corey Beckles, and people have been calling me. Can I get the number? I get up 6 o'clock in the morning. Can I get the number? Sometimes they start telling me all kinds of problems. I'm like, you better talk to him. I can't help you. I am learning too. So we want to welcome attorney Corey Beckles to the Marcia Week Show again. Thank you so much. Mr. Beckles, where have you been? Thank you. All these
Good.
years from the Marcia Week Show. Thank you. It has been so educational. I tell you. Thank you, Mr. Beckles, for your segments. And I'm going to just shut up now and let you take it away.
Good evening, Marcia.
Good
evening to
evening.
everyone. Hope you're hearing me clearly.
Yes, I'm hearing you clearly.
Okay, wonderful. All right, so it's always a pleasure to be here and to share the information. I know that our time is limited, so I'm going to go quickly into our discussion. I did say last week, that I would go into looking at that case that I had I had mentioned a case called Selby and Smith as it relates to the rights of beneficiaries, as it relates to the common law spouse. And that case, Selby and Smith, it originated or started in the High Court of Barbados. And what happened is that a lady who was living with a gentleman, he was married at the time, but sometime between the marriage and his death, he divorced. So at the date of his death, he was a divorced man. But the time period to qualify according to the law as a common law spouse is 5 years. You have to be living as a single man, according to the law, a single man living with a single woman for not less than 5 years. You must be living for 5 years together to qualify as a common law spouse. But as I said before, the situation is that they got together. He was married at the time. Somewhere in between them getting together and his death, he was divorced. And what happened is that after he died, his parents, he had no children. His parents also were deceased. So the next in line to inherit was his siblings. But of course, the lady that he lived with was claiming that she was a spouse. She was claiming that she was a common law spouse, even though at the time they didn't spend that 5-year period while he was a single man. She's still claiming that she is a common law spouse. And the brother brought a case against her in the High Court of Barbados, claiming that she was not entitled. And what happened is that the High Court judge found that she was indeed a common law spouse, because the High Court judge said in his judgment that as long as the individual is single at the time of their death or immediately preceding their death, the spouse can qualify. You can qualify as a common law spouse, as long as, remember, is the lady that's bringing that contention. She's claiming that she's a common law spouse. The issue is that the man was divorced somewhere in between the cohabitation, but because he was single, because he was divorced immediately preceding his death, the court still qualified her as a common law spouse because he was single. He was a divorced man immediately preceding his death. But there was a contrary opinion or a contrary view, because the law itself, anybody that reads the law, which is the Succession Act, would read for themselves and see, well, it has to be a single man and a single woman, and you have to be cohabiting for 5 years or more. But this circumstance was a bit interesting, because they did not cohabit for the 5 years as single individuals.
Right.
But the court still found that as long as you're single immediately prior or preceding your death, as long as you're single immediately preceding your death, you can qualify under the law concerning common law spouses. And this matter started in the High Court. It went to the Court of Appeal because, of course, that decision was challenged. The Court of Appeal actually reversed the decision of the High Court judge, because the Court of Appeal looked at the actual law, the actual act, and they believed that, well, it was their opinion that the law says 5 years. It has to be 5 years. You have to be single. Both individuals have to be single. It has to be a 5 year period. If there is no 5 year period in that circumstance, then you cannot qualify as a common law spouse. So, Marcia, it went all the way to the Caribbean Court of Justice. And the Caribbean Court of Justice reversed the decision of the Barbados Court of Appeal. And the Caribbean Court of Justice agreed with the High Court judge. And they agreed that in these circumstances, as long as he was divorced immediately preceding his death, he was single. And they came to the decision that you cannot, in this circumstance, prevent this lady from qualifying as a common law spouse. So what really happened is that she, along with the same siblings, inherited, because we now have a spouse and we now have siblings. As the persons who will inherit. But it is a very interesting case, because interesting for Barbados and maybe also the Caribbean, because as long as you are a single person, man or woman, single person, immediately preceding your death, and you have been cohabiting with another individual, it is almost certain that the other individual or the survivor will qualify as a common law spouse. What is also interesting is that you cannot, if you're separated prior to your death, there will be no qualification. So a separated individual is not single. A divorced individual is single, but if you're separated, you're not considered to be single.
I see.
Right? So everything depends on the particular circumstances. But it's still relevant to our discussion, because we are discussing the rights of beneficiaries. So if you are an individual who finds yourself in the same situation as that lady, in the same case that I referred to, then there is a very good chance that you will qualify as a common law spouse. But every case that is brought before the court in Barbados and anywhere in the world is determined based on their own particular and specific circumstances, right? So every circumstance will be different. Every specific situation will be different, right? So I want also to continue the discussion concerning the rights of beneficiaries as relates to some practical some practical issues that arise when you are dealing with the application for letters of administration. Because I find that there are many situations where beneficiaries are they're not being told what is happening with the estate. Now, the right to information, there is not necessarily any written law that says that beneficiaries must obtain information. But when you are dealing with a person who has died intestate, a person who has died without a will, then usually the spouse would apply. And if you have children, it is the spouse and the children who will inherit the estate. And you may have situations where the spouse has applied. The spouse may be a step parent. And you will find situations where the spouse may not be communicating with the children, or the children are not communicating with the spouse. There is not really a good relationship between the children and the spouse. And in those situations, you will find that the spouse, as the applicant, they will have their own attorney. And the children, as the other beneficiaries, will also go and retain their own attorney. But it is in my opinion, estate matters are practically family matters. For the most part, they are family matters. And it is very important that even though there may be some level of miscommunication, some level of distrust, sometimes some level of animosity, for the benefit of all persons involved, it is best that the parties come together and sit down and determine what is going to happen, how things will happen, how will information be shared. So even though you have two different attorneys, or sometimes you may have multiple attorneys, depending on how each, called the beneficiaries who are the children, the other beneficiaries may even have their own attorneys. You don't know. Some of these estate matters can get very complicated. But nevertheless, these are still family matters, and it is best that the parties, all of the parties, sit down, discuss the matter, and determine how things are going to operate. Because when you have individuals who are not receiving any information at all, it can delay the application for letters of administration. Because now the beneficiaries have a right to file a document called a caveat. And a caveat is a document that stops the application process. So wherever the application is, the caveat stops that process for 6 months.
Wow.
6 months. And not only that,
wow,
that caveat could be filed as many times as you so desire.
My goodness.
Yes, so an individual who is not being told what is going on, an individual who believes they're being left out, can go to their attorney, and the attorney will keep filing a caveat every 6 months. And at the end of the day, nobody is going to benefit because nothing is being done with the application. So that's why I say go back to what I said at the beginning. It makes no sense taking the risk of not communicating with the beneficiaries. If you are an applicant in an application for letters of administration, even if you are not communicating with the beneficiaries or with the other beneficiaries directly, if you have an attorney, let your attorney communicate with them. Let your attorney let them know what is happening. In fact, the law prescribes that in cases of letters of administration, you must notify the beneficiaries. So you must send a letter, you must send a notice to the beneficiaries, to all of the beneficiaries, to let them know that you have made an application for letters of administration. Either that you have made an application or you will make an application for letters of administration. So the law itself, the procedure, the legal procedure already is looking at these matters as family matters, as ensuring that all individuals know what is happening. That really is the point. All individuals must know, who have a benefit, who have an interest in the estate, should know what is happening. it is not, we're in 2026. There's so many cases that are still languishing. Some are languishing in the court system, some are languishing at the probate registry because beneficiaries cannot see eye to eye. And when beneficiaries cannot see eye to eye, you need someone to step in to be able to mediate. So we speak a lot about mediation. Mediation is something that can assist the family, that can assist the beneficiaries in ensuring that this estate is actually settled. And that really is the point. The end result is for the estate to be settled. And settlement means that whoever is entitled to the estate receives what they are entitled to. So when we're talking about settling an estate, we're talking about ensuring that everything that is supposed to go to the particular individual as beneficiary goes to them, that they receive exactly what they are entitled to under the law. Because we're not dealing with a will now, we're dealing with an individual who died intestate. So I say all that to say, Marcia, that beneficiaries concerning applications for letters of administration, I would submit that they are entitled to information. They are entitled to communication, and they are entitled to know what stage, what status, what is the status of the application for letters of administration.
Yes, yes. Somebody has a question here. Do you have to give a reason for filing a caveat? If so, what would be possible reasons?
Right. So you don't necessarily have to state the reason for filing the caveat in the actual document itself. But some of the possible reasons is that you believe that the applicant or the person who has put forward themselves to be the applicant are not entitled to make the application. So it could be a sibling makes the application, and the sibling could be the eldest out of all the siblings. But the law says that all siblings are equally entitled. So we're not looking at who is the eldest. All siblings are equally entitled. And there are situations where one sibling may decide or come to the opinion that their eldest sibling is not the best person to make the application. So that is why they will file the caveat. Or you may file a caveat where you believe that the applicant not just doesn't have the standing, the legal standing. The applicant may not even be a family member. The applicant could be someone such as a common law spouse. There are situations where, because as I said before, you have to be declared to be a common law spouse. And there are situations where that individual who believes they're a common law spouse ends up making the application before they have been declared to be common law spouses. And then the family members or the other beneficiaries may have an issue with that, so they file a caveat. So what happens is that once the caveat is filed, then the applicant or the applicant's attorney would respond to the caveat. To file a document, so the response really is through a document called a warning to the caveator. And that warning really initiates a situation where the caveator now must give a reason. They must show a cause why they have filed their caveat. So the caveat, the document called the caveat, you don't necessarily have to put a reason. But as long as the applicant responds to that caveat, now you are put on notice to provide some reasons. Now the person who filed the caveat is put on notice to let the applicant know why have you filed this caveat, right? And once you file the warning to the caveat, you have a specific amount of time to respond to that warning. If you don't respond, then it could initiate a court action. So that is now you have to go before a judge, and the judge will determine who is the best individual, who is the better qualified individual to make that application for letters of administration. But suffice it to say, the caveat is a very powerful document. It's a
I
very
could tell.
Yes,
I
but
could tell.
yeah, it can be
Somebody,
avoided. You can avoid the situation of a caveat just by communicating with the other beneficiaries.
right. Somebody's asking if it's 14 days to respond to the caveat. If it's a first 14 days.
Yes, subject to correction. I believe that's the amount of time that you do have. It maybe it's 14, it could be 7 days, but I will get the specific amount of time for the audience.
Yeah. Somebody's asking what happens. They say, how does foreclosure works? I guess in this whole thing about rights to estate. This is where the land do not have an actual owner.
Right. So really and truly, foreclosure, as it relates to, there's two different definitions really in the law concerning foreclosure. Foreclosure, as we know it now, refers to mortgages, a bank foreclosing on property. Now, as it relates to property law, there was a legal process in Barbados called foreclosure proceedings. Now, these foreclosure proceedings is what we call, this is the precursor or the original. We now have a situation where there's something called land title proceedings. So the foreclosure process was what we had before Barbados implemented the land title proceedings. And in land title proceedings, you do not have the legal title to property, but you're going before the court and you're telling the court you are entitled to obtain a written document giving you legal title. That's what land title proceedings in a nutshell is. So a person who has been in adverse possession, living on property for 10 years or more, and nobody has prevented them from doing so. The owner, the true owner of the property, has not prevented them from possessing the property, has not prevented them from treating the property as their own. After 10 years, the law gives them the right to approach the court to obtain title to that property through adverse possession. But the legal process for that individual to obtain title is through the land title proceedings. So foreclosure. So if you see any documents concerning property and concerning the rights to property with foreclosure on it, that is the old version or the old legal proceeding, because the land title proceedings came, I would say, is of recent vintage, but recent is still, it was still around for 10 years already. But foreclosure proceedings is those proceedings that allowed individuals to obtain the same title to property as they would obtain through the land title proceedings. And the only way, or the different ways that you can obtain title, as I said, through adverse possession. There are situations where an individual, you may have land, your family has been occupying the land for several years. Your grandparents occupy the land. You know that your mom, your parents occupy the land, but there are no title deeds for that land whatsoever. What will happen? It is not really adverse possession, but you are going to court and telling the court that my family has occupied this land since I was a young boy, young girl. In fact, my mother told me that she was occupying that property while she was a young girl. And you can trace possession of that property for several years. So now you present that evidence to the court, and you also advertise it in the newspaper, because you must advertise. When you're going through foreclosure proceedings, as it then was, and if you're going through land title proceedings, you must advertise in the newspaper to let persons know who may have an interest in the property that you have made an application to obtain legal title to that specific property. So foreclosure is a very old process, but that has been replaced by the land title proceedings.
Okay, wow, so much to learn and know and understand. Somebody's asking, in the case of many siblings, one of them is creating the problem of not resolving the letters of administration. Is there a solution? I was wondering about that.
All right. So the first step really is to communicate. But in this case, I believe that the communication has broken down,
And down, yeah.
which has led to this particular situation. So in this case, siblings will normally file a caveat, or the aggrieved siblings would normally file a caveat, and that stops any proceedings whatsoever. Now, if the other sibling, there may be different situations. So I'm going to speak about the situation where one sibling has started the process, but they are not following through. So if one sibling has started the process for letters of administration, but for some reason they're not following through, that is when you can actually file the caveat. If communication has broken down, file a caveat. And now that leads the sibling or the sibling's attorney to respond to the caveat. And that also leads now to the matter going before a judge. And the long and short, really, I'm going to get to the end, Marcia, without speaking, as people say, all the long talk. Really and truly, in such a situation, the matter can only be determined by a court of law. That really is the long and short of the story. But I'm just going through the process. So in these cases, you file a caveat, you have a response to the caveat. If there's no response to the caveat, you file the matter in court. And you're basically asking the court, informing the court that the sibling has not been doing what they're supposed to do. They started this matter 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and they're not completing the matter. And the estate is still languishing. There's property that needs to be taken care of. And because there's no letters of administration, we cannot take care of this property and preserve the property for the beneficiaries. So all of this information you will give to the judge, and then the judge will determine whether or not the sibling who actually started the proceedings is competent enough to finish the proceedings, to finish the application. If the judge determines that they're not competent, then one of the other siblings will be appointed to start the process. But remember, you have to start the process over again. You can't continue the application.
Right.
So as long as you have a new individual making the application, you have to start the process all over again. And all this time is going by. Time has already gone by, and more time is wasted in these proceedings.
Yes.
So that's why I said it is really best for all parties involved to communicate. But in the event that they can't communicate, in the event that communication has broken down, then you have to let the court of law decide who will apply. And the court, in its discretion, can ensure that the application is made and also that the application is completed. So there are cases where the judge may direct. Let's say the application has already been made and the letters of administration have already been issued. The court can direct the administrator to distribute the property. So there are cases where the application has already been completed, but for some reason, the estate has not been distributed. The assets have not been given to the beneficiaries. So once it goes to court, the judge can order the administrator or the administratrix to distribute or transfer the property from the estate to all the beneficiaries entitled. Right. But of course, court is a last resort. Everything can be done without court
communication. Family matter.
It is best.
Family matter. Here's a question, and we will have another 5 minutes, guys. How long does a probate take before the registry is finished? I guess they meant the process is finished.
All right. Yeah, it can take. There are some individuals who file an application. Now you mentioned probate. So there are basically two applications that will go before the court: either probating a will or making an application for letters of administration, as the case may be. Now there's some individuals who may file an application and they get it back within 6 months. There's some individuals who may file an application and they get it back within a year's time. There's some individuals who have filed an application and 5 years down the line, for some reason, the application still has not been completed. Because as long as an application has been filed, the registry or the registrar of the Supreme Court is the only person that can approve applications. So the registrar, according to our law, must be satisfied. The registrar of the Supreme Court must be satisfied that everything in that application has been presented to him or her. The registrar, before she can even approve the application for the grant of the letters administration or for the grant of probate, you must satisfy the registrar that all the documentation that is necessary to be filed is filed. And also, the registrar can also ask you specific questions that you must answer. So the attorney will file the application, or there are individuals who will also file their own application. But whether or not the attorney files it, whether or not you file in person, the registrar will ask you specific questions. And the registrar may tell you, well, I see that this property at some point in time was owned by your grandmother, something along those lines. I'm just using it as an example.
Yes.
But whatever you mention in your documentation, the registrar can ask you for a death certificate for your grandparents. You may say that your parents are no longer with you. The registrar can ask you to provide death certificates for your parents. Or the registrar may ask you for death certificates for any siblings that are deceased. The registrar must be satisfied
right
before the application is granted. So that's why sometimes it takes a while. It takes a long time. In between answering the questions, in between getting this further information or additional information to satisfy the registrar, time goes by. And sometimes it takes a while before the actual application is actually approved. But every case is different. You may have simple matters, but sometimes there are matters with 10 different beneficiaries. Or sometimes a deceased had 10 children, or had 5 children, 6 children. You have to make sure that you notify those children. Sometimes you can't locate. Sometimes you may a child of the deceased may be alive, but you don't know where they are. But you still have to notify the registrar that you have notified them of the application. So it takes time to find that individual. You have to do a lot of research. It takes a long time. So there's really no set period of time, specific set period of time for the application at the registry to be completed. But some individuals will gauge it as between 6 months and a year. But if it is a complicated matter, it can go much higher than that. Sometimes 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, Marcia. And unfortunately, sometimes more than that.
More than that. Sometimes people die and gone, and they're fighting.
Right.
They're still fighting.
Yeah, it's still has not been completed as yet.
Yeah.
And next week, because I know time has run out.
Yes.
Next week we can look at what happens when you are near the completion of an application for letters administration, but the applicant has died. What do you do in that situation? How do you move forward from there? And we can look at that next week, God willing.
Yes, most definitely. This has been very educational for me. Outside of this, I literally had no clue. I didn't understand anything. And I must say, as you see me here, I literally am taking notes each week, and I'm learning each week. And I want to say thank you. Did anybody tell you you're a great teacher?
I heard it before. But thank you for that.
Yes, you are doing a great job. I must say, because I'm following you. You follow. You paint a good picture, and I follow along, even though I'm a novice. So I see some questions in the comment section, but what you can do, I promise you, if you message me at 2367000 with those questions, I will send them on to Mr. Beckles, okay? Or you can hold them until next week, all right? Yeah, I agree. This lawyer is very knowledgeable. He's very knowledgeable, and we appreciate it, Mr. Beckles. And thank you so much. In fact, I think I might have an invitation for you, but I wonder, I'm going to send something to you. All right, just cross my mind.
No problem.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Beckles.
Have a good night. Yes, thank you.
Yes, God bless you. Thank you. Another great night. My goodness. I don't know about you, but I'm serious about this. A lot of these things I had no clue. No, we don't even think about that part of the things. So I'm learning. I am learning. Yeah. So just message me if you'd like his number. You can to ask more questions, etc., and to be educated. That's the purpose he comes on here. You can always message me and I will pass on the information to you. All right. Put the question together and I'm going to send it up because we're talking about life. This is real, guys. Okay. We're going to continue some education tonight for a few minutes, and then we are going to go straight on to the press conference that happened today, the BIMPay press conference. We're going to focus our attention on that, where a reporter was insulted, in my mind. And you will listen to it and you can tell me if you think the person was insulted or not. And if you think that the central bank governor, Mr. Kevin Greenwich, if he should apologize, not just to that person, but to Barbados. But before we do that, we are not going to be distracted from the oil the oil talk that we had last week. I call it an oil crisis because we are dealing with environmental concerns, and then we would be excited if there was really oil and that can help us get out of our debt, etc. So I've done my own little research. I promised you that I was going to go out in the field with my camera. I didn't get a chance to. I've been so busy with the Elevate program and also with the dinner with Dad that I have not been able to do that. But God willing, next week, when dinner with Dad is completed, I will go with my camera and I'm going to find those areas where they said that they would see sediments of the oil, coming up to the surface. I want to see for myself. So I want to go and I want to capture that and take it back to you. All right. So we're going to spend some time on that, and hopefully we'll still have some time at the end for you to call in. So because of time, I'm going to jump right in to what I prepared for you this evening. And because I think it is important, before we're going forward, it's important that we understand the history, and what is fact versus fiction this oil issue. So we're talking this evening about the men who came looking for black gold. Oil is considered black gold as well. The men who came looking for black gold. So last week, if you remembered, we learned something that surprised a lot of people. We learned that oil in Barbados is not a new story. A lot of you knew that, but some didn't. Long before offshore blocks, long before climate change debates, and long before many of us were born, Barbadians were already collecting oil from natural seepages and from shallow pits. And we discussed that a lot last week. And you were telling me the different areas where the natural seepages were and where the shallow pits were. And anybody can tell me that when they first started to search oil in Barbados, what year? Actually, in that particular year, 19 something, right? There's a certain number of barrels of oil had already been produced in Barbados by that year. So they would have started before, okay? But by that particular year, they made some progress. Anybody remember the year? No? Somebody say 1896? By 1910, they would have produced 25,000 barrels of oil had already been produced. Okay, so tonight we're continuing the story from 1910 moving forward. Now, who are the people who came looking for oil? Who were the men? Who were the companies? Anybody remember any companies that those companies that believed there was oil beneath Barbados? What did they find? Some of these companies came, some drilled, some found oil, some left disappointed, but they kept coming back. And that tells us something important, I think. There must have been some evidence to keep attracting interest. As we move now into modern era, one of the companies that arrived was the Gulf Oil. Anybody remember Gulf Oil? I wasn't around that time. Gulf drilled 6 deep exploration wells in Barbados. So they dug six exploration wells in Barbados. But think about that. You know, drilling deep wells is expensive, and they dug 6 because they had hope, right? Companies are not going to spend that kind of money on a hunch. They must have believed that there was some commercial viability there, some commercial potential. But can I tell you this? That they had only limited success. They drilled for 6 wells. They drilled 6 wells, but had very limited success. What did they find? Or why? What did they not find? Apparently, it was not enough to transform Barbados into a major oil producer. So we talked about this last week, that the 25 barrels, that it was not commercial. And so those people stopped drilling. And coming forward now, since 1910, coming forward, Gulf dug, and they did 6 wells, deep wells, and they found that it was not enough oil was there to transform Barbados into a major oil producer. But that story does not end there. Another company arrived, and this particular company, viewers, would change. For some people, they would say this changed the history of Barbados forever. This company was called General Crude. Who remember General Crude? General Crude began operations in Barbados in 1965, according to the history. And this is where, you know, it starts to get interesting. By 1972, General Crude had drilled 16 exploration wells across Barbados. 16. So the other one, you know, they did 6. Gulf Oil did 6. Here comes in 1972. So General Crude started in 1965, but in 1972, they drilled 16 oil wells across Barbados. Now, that tells us, if you're going to drill 16 and it's quite expensive, it tells us that it was serious, right? If that search was a serious search, would you agree? So this was not a company that was casually looking around for oil. This was a company, one would say, investing significant money and resources to understand what was beneath the island. And then something happened. General Crude began developing production wells, and they developed 29 production wells. 29. So they did 16 exploration wells. 16 exploration wells. But over time, they decided, something is here. So they now developed 29 production wells. And production reportedly reached approximately 760 barrels of oil per day. So this was significant for Barbados. So it wasn't just exploration anymore. This was no production time. This was oil coming out of the ground, 760 barrels of oil per day. And it's for the first time, Barbados was now becoming an oil-producing nation in a very real sense, 760 barrels a day. And at the center of it all was a place many Barbados know by the name. Anybody want to tell me what place was that? What was the name of that place? The name of that place was Woodburn. Woodburn in St. Philip became the heart of Barbados's oil industry. It became the place where all the hopes and the investments, the discoveries and all of that, the production, everything, the exploration, everything came together at Woodburn, right? Because now that is where the history changed, right, for Barbados in terms of oil production. Yeah. We're going to spend some more time exploring Woodburn next week, right, and the surrounding areas, because that story is so big, it deserves its own program, right? But let's go to 1979. In 1979, Mobil acquired General Crude. All right, Mobil acquired General Crude. Many of us know the Mobil name. The Mobil name is known worldwide, right? Mobil came into Barbados and continued to explore. The company drilled 5 additional test wells. Okay, so remember that General Crude had 16 exploration wells. And here comes Mobil, and Mobil now added 5 additional test wells. But despite all the effort and investment, Mobil did not make the major commercial discovery that many hoped for. And again, what do you think happened? Mobil left. Think about that. Eventually, Mobil, they walked away. Why? Was there oil? Clearly, yes. Was there enough oil? That became the question. And that remains a question that Barbados continue to ask even today. Even today. So even though you hear all of the announcements and so on, the question is, do we have enough oil to start serious production? Now, what happens next after Mobil left is quite historic, because the government of Barbados decided that the story would not end when the foreign companies left. Instead, Barbados took control. The assets were acquired, and that's when the Barbados National Oil Company Limited was established. For the first time, the responsibility for the research, continuing research, development, and managing of Barbados's petroleum resources rested largely in Barbadian hands, and that should be commended. And that moment changed the industry. So it was no longer just foreign exploration, but it was now national ownership. From foreign companies looking for oil beneath Barbados to Barbados looking for answers beneath its own soil. Right? So next week, we're going to go a lot into Woodburn, right? That field that changed Barbados. We want to talk about how was it discovered and why did Woodburn become the center of oil production. We're also going to look at what role did Carrington, Bentley, and Edgecombe play. We want to look at how did natural gas become part of this story. All right? And so next week is when we're going to continue our history. And I think that it is so important that we do this. Very, very important that we continue to look into the history, the Barbados oil history, get the facts from ourselves. And if there's anything that I'm sharing and you think that it's not right, you can message me, you can let me know, you can call me, you can send me the information, right? Yeah, very, very important. All right. So we are going to move on tonight, folks. We are moving on. And Dave, I gave you a picture there, and I would love for you to put that picture up for me. In fact, Dave, I sent you two pictures. There is a picture there because we are going to we're going to look at, you know, there is a lot of fanfare and celebration to say that, well, Barbados is the first to have a national, you know, system as BIMPay. All right, it's the first to have in the region, and there's all this excitement and so on. And there's something that Mr. Greenidge said when in the launch. He said that this kind of application should take 4 years. But I believe, you can correct me if I'm mistaken, he said that he did it in under 2 years. How many of you heard that? How many of you heard that he said that they did it and the prime minister asked him to do it in less? Yeah? The prime minister, he says, ask him to do it in less. And somebody said to me, Marcia, that Miss Motley, back to that, Dave, the picture. Miss Motley is what you call a Miss Murray in a hurry. I laugh so badly. Dave, can you put the, yes, Miss Murray in a hurry. And so I went and I got this done. Anybody can see what's happening in this picture? Let's look at this picture, because this is our prime minister. Look at me. I am first. Don't mind how I get there. Look at everybody running in their lane, you know. Not her. Stay in your lane. No cutting across. Follow the rules. I just want to be first. So we are the first. We're the first. And here you have the coach or the referee saying, I don't remember what you call them for athletics, saying disqualified, rule breaker, not a winner, right? Cross the line all you want. If you break the rules, you're still disqualified, right? And honestly, this is how I see the prime minister, always wanting to be the first. We are going to be the first in this, right? And it is no wonder. I have to say to both Mr. Greenidge and to Miss Motley, I could definitely see that you took under 2 years to develop BIMPay as an application system. I could see that. I could see that through the questions that were in the comment section of the of what they did, of the press conference that they did today. Did you all see the press conference? So this prime minister is trying to run ahead of everybody to try to get it. Yes, because it's about her. And we could see. So there is this press conference that occurred today. All right. And to me, watching it looked so elementary, they look unprepared. Look unprepared. The sound quality was horrible. You could barely hear the governor of the central bank. This is not something that CBC was putting on. This is their press conference at the central bank. And it was horrible, the sound quality, and they seemed so unprepared. And, you know, let me just say something to you. That I went through the comment section today. I went through the comment section because I couldn't follow along because the audio was so bad. And I found that the chat had questions on 10 major issues. And majority of those questions were not answered. It was only towards the latter part that the central bank realized that they needed to put somebody in the chat to try to answer questions. We just had Mr. Beckles here, and we were feeding questions from the chat to Mr. Beckles. And we're nowhere near the central bank. Anybody would know you are doing something like this. We've got to check the chat. People kept saying, nobody's checking the chat. I sat there and I went through the chat. I copied the chat. And I collated the questions. And here are the 10 major issues that the people were having. How do I get the token? Why is my account locked? It's so many questions. Can I link more than one bank account? And that particular question was repeated over and over. Why can't one wallet connect to multiple banks? They keep asking it because under each of those these headings, I have several questions. How does an unbanked person use BIMPay? These are questions that they were asking. Why are certain banks missing? Why isn't Scotiabank on BIMPay? Why isn't my institution available? When will other banks be added? People are asking, how do I unlink or change banks? A lot of confusion existed in the chat. How do I switch banks? How do I unlink through the bank? Why are transfers not working? The users are reporting transfers delayed, transfers missing, transfers not received. Why isn't my money arriving? Why hasn't my money arrived? They want to know, can BIMPay tap like Apple Pay or Google Pay? Is BIMPay only QR codes? Can I tap to pay? Will it work with Apple Pay? Will it work with Google Wallet? Is BIMPay ready? They kept asking, many comments were asking technical questions. Is BIMPay ready? They were asking, Mr. Greenwich, which I need to ask the Prime Minister, why wasn't this tested more? It wouldn't be tested more because Dave put back up that picture, please. Dave, put back the picture up with the Prime Minister. Yes, it couldn't be tested more because the Prime Minister, according to Mr. Greenwich, based on my memory, he says it was supposed to take 4 years, but the Prime Minister said do it in 18 months. So it is no wonder we believe you that you did it in 18 months. We thoroughly believe you. Because the people are saying, I'm just reading, and I know you're listening. I know you're listening. I am just reading the comments you never read. I am reading the chat you never read. I suggest to you, Central Bank, go and sit down and read the chat. If you actually care. Many of the comments are asking technical question. Why wasn't this tested before? Why are there so many onboarding issues? People are asking in the comment section, why wasn't a frequently asked question section available? Because they're rushing. Because Miss Murray is in a hurry. Miss Murray is in a hurry. She's in such a hurry. That is why all of her bank information was put out online. People are asking, why are people discovering problems on launch day? Why wasn't it tested? And a lot of people are saying to them in the chat, in the comment section, Central Bank, this does not feel ready. They also had privacy and security questions. Not as many comments, but some important ones. They're asking, what are we signing up to? Who has access to the data? How secure is the system? What fraud protections exist? And when we ask that on this program, they say we are pushing propaganda. When I went last night and I read the security and the privacy concerns that Niall, did I say that right? Niall Harper has, okay, concerning BIMPay, and there are people still saying all she wants to do is to create trouble. But here it is, the citizens are asking, what are we signing up to? Who has access to the data? Did you all see that in the comment section? Central Bank. How secure is the system? What fraud protections exist? Those concerns align closely with Niall Harper's recommendations. The three biggest themes. The people want to know, how do I get into the system? How does the system work? And can I trust the system? That's really the story of the chat. Towards the end, somebody from the central bank went in there, but by that time, so many questions had gone. And they weren't debating digital payments inside there. It wasn't debating. They were really trying, the public was trying to figure out how to use BIMPay and whether it is ready for widespread adoption. That's it. I was shocked that there was nobody there at most of it to answer the questions, right? Only a few credible central bank answers appear clearly, right? The main clear answer that I saw was you can receive money from any financial institution and send to any institution, right? And that was clear. But quite a number of them were not fully answered. Plus, as I told you, there was audio problem for a good section of it. The people are saying, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. Again, read and not ready. They hate answering questions, it seems to me. Yeah? Yeah? Yes, 12 months, right? The people were sacrificing weekends and so on because Miss Murray was in a hurry. Miss Murray was in a hurry to be first. Okay? Miss Murray. Yeah. They didn't want to take their time. Somebody asking me why Miss Murray in a hurry didn't want to take their time. And Miss Murray is Mr. Bob. I see him coming into the, and that's his phrase. He told me, Miss Murray in a hurry. He had me laughing so much. Right? No, we know it's Motley. We're calling her Murray. Okay, Miss Murray in a hurry because it rhymes. And it's a saying. Yeah. No, Vihoy. These people can handle simple audio, but they want to manage billions. Right? They want to manage billions. Look at her face. Look at her face. And that's it for all the legislation that passed in here. Not ready. She just want to be the first. Right? Why they don't, yes, the FOI. Why don't the Freedom of Information Act, why we don't see a rushing to pass that and the integrity legislation and the Republican Constitution? Jackie, come to the front of the class. Why we don't see a running to do it? Yeah. So that's why all the questions are there, because Miss Rushy wanted it rushed to be number one. So yes. No, she didn't look surprised winning. She looked surprised because they're telling her that something is wrong. She's disqualified. That's what she looks surprised. It's not the winning. She getting corrected. They're telling her, no, it's not working. It's not working. And she's like, what? I can't believe it. We are first. Yes. Now, I want to go back to the same bad audio press conference. And I want you to just listen to a few seconds of this, people. I'll just listen. I know it's hard to listen, but I can translate it for you. All right? Go ahead, Dave. Dave dropped out. It dropped out. Let's play that. Go ahead and play it, Dave. Thank you.
Okay. Now, as much as you would like to hear, I ain't putting no figure out there. Because if they put there, why matter, you gonna pay for it? No, so why you want to know it for? Read our financial reports and you see it embedded in there. Okay.
Can you play it again? Can you all hear Dave? Is the volume up? This is how muffled this thing was, you know. At one point there was no audio. This is a big central bank. But play this again, Dave.
But would like to hear, I ain't putting no figure out there. Because if they put there, why matter, you gonna pay for it? No, so why you want to know it for? Read our financial reports and you see it embedded in there. Okay.
Now he is asking, the reporter is asking, how much is BIMPay? Okay? How much is BIMPay? And what did he say? The reporter asked, what did BIMPay cost? Right? And the governor, in essence, is asking, why does it matter? Are you going to pay for it? I put it in English because he said it in Bajan. What you need to know for, are you going to pay for it? How much did BIMPay cost? Why does it matter? Are you going to pay for it? That is actually what the governor asked the reporter. And what is shocking? Did you hear it, Shirley? I tell you what, and everybody, if you listen carefully, the reporter asked, how much is being paid? And this public official says, what you need to know it for? You gonna pay for it? I want that to sink in, you know. I want that to sink in. This is a public official.
My name was...
I want that sink in. Mr. Bob, let me know when you are able to come in. Huh? Now, this man here, you know, I went on the website and I saw they put it the most honorable. I want to ask you something tonight, sir. Was that an honorable way to respond to a young reporter? I'm being told that this reporter is a young intern at Starcom, and I want to get the name of this reporter because I want to big them up. I want to celebrate that reporter. They should not feel small and feel insulted. They're doing the job of what the others should have been doing inside that room. Asking, well, it's not even a hard question. It's a simple question. How much did it cost? You're going to tell me that he, a public official, supposed to be referred to the most honorable, could not find another way to respond to this young reporter? What was so wrong? I agree there. This is what I'm going to say, because when I start to know, you have these Christian people who want to tell me that he's a Christian and I must leave him alone. This dishonorable, in my mind, to me, is my opinion. That's what you have done, is dishonorable. You call yourself the most honorable. It's dishonorable. It's rude. It's disgusting behavior. Right? He's thinking it correct, Trevor. You think he's talking to children? You think you're talking to children? Is it your money you're spending? Did you realize it's not your money? Or you probably think it's yours. And I'm so sorry that Dr. Derek Alleyne could not join us, because the paper he sent me is right in line with this, with what happened here. Dr. Alleyne, and I'm not going to jump. Yes, you can use your. You can come on with your phone, Mr. Bob. Mr. Bob wants to come on with his phone and not the camera. I'm just seeing thing. I was looking. I was saying to you that Derek Alleyne, he had a paper, a presentation, and in the presentation, he's talking about this Motley show and the weakening of democratic accountability. And there's a paragraph in there where he said that even the officials who work under her are now following her style of leadership. I remember watching press conferences with this gentleman on the screen, and he was soft-spoken. And sometimes for effect, I used to laugh. He lowers his voice, trying to be right. Today he was off. He was off hinge. It was unhinged. He was rude, as though you're bothering him. I don't know if he didn't get up good from the pajama party, or did they have too much fun at the pajama party? Is it that he had too much fun at the pajama party, and you come to take it out on people? That's disgusting behavior. And the media fraternity should demand an apology. That young reporter was only doing their job. That young reporter was only doing their job. I never heard him behave. The whole thing, Judith Ann, was off. It's not the people's fault why there are pages of concerns that the people have. It's not their fault. It's your fault. You are the one at fault. You're at fault. You and your leader. You said it's supposed to take 4 years, but you do it in 8 months because the prime minister asked you. So you had expected that it was going to go smooth, or we are so stupid that we would not ask any questions. You're right to laugh, Adrian, because those media personnel inside the press conference laughed when he insulted that young reporter. When he insulted the young reporter, there was a laughter. And I turned to Mr. Bob today. I said, Mr. Bob, why would they even be laughing? I was so disgusted by it. And I got more incensed when I realized it was a young reporter. Who this man think he is? You could write me all you want. You have disqualified yourself from a place of honor. until you apologize to that young reporter. Most honorable? How? Show us. If you're most honorable, the honorable thing to do is to apologize, Mr. Greenwich. It's disappointing. The people did not cause the problems. You guys did. You heard the laughter, Judith Ann? Agreed. The intern Bihar was doing what the media don't really get under the skin of these public officials, you know. So this intern trying to do their job. I can't wait to get the name of this intern. We're going to celebrate. That intern must not feel insulted when we are finished. I will even go buy an award for her or him. Yeah? And we're wondering why our young people behaving the way they do. Huh? Now, the same way his boss behaved with Carifesta, we weren't supposed to ask any questions. They were insulting Mr. Thorne and everybody who was asking about how much Carifesta cost. They did not believe to us little minions that they need to tell us how much Carifesta costs. And the person is asking, it's the same way. He's taking up the same nasty attitude of this administration. This nasty, foul, disgusting attitude of this government. I don't like it. And there should not have been any laughter in that room. And let him think he's cute and giving jokes. You actually came across, to me, is my opinion. My opinion, you came across as being very incompetent. You came across as somebody who they're asking you, the questions are there. This is so technical for you all. You at the table there, it didn't seem like you understood how to answer the technical questions. So what? You're taking it out on the reporter? It was rude and distasteful. We must not take this nonsense from them, but most honorable, my foot. Okay? And it is my opinion, and I'm stating my opinion again. I'm not, my opinion don't have to be fact. I'm stating what I think based on your actions. The actions of the not just his action, the actions of the central bank looks to me like it's a political operation. I missed the word I'm looking for. That's why I have I have this here, Dave. Put back up the puppet. Put back out the puppet for me. Mr. Bob.
Good night, Marcia.
Good evening,
Good night.
Mr. Bob. Good evening.
Good evening.
Miss
I was
Maurice
listening to the tree in a hurry. That's when if you brush the paint through it.
When you rush the, but say it again.
When you rush the brush, you throw away the paint.
Throw away the paint.
But Marcia, I was listening to you, and I listened to this clip from the press conference, and
hello, are you there, Mr. Bob? We can't hear you. Mr. Bob, we can't hear you. Mr. Bob. Okay, we're not hearing him. Dave, can you put up the one with the puppet, please? No. The media should have walked out. Agree. The one you had up at the beginning of the show.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we're hearing you now.
Okay.
Go
I
right
think
ahead.
I'm having some issues tonight. I don't have my laptop and the phones and the connection is a bit off. But when I heard it, and after a night of celebration, back slapping and probably some drinking to celebrate the launch of this BIMPay, and to be faced with a situation today with a lot of uncertainty, I believe that the gully gentleman was so frustrated, and to be faced with a question like that, he blurted out. He took out his frustration on the intern, and they must take responsibility for it. And the reporters who were there, instead of chuckling, should have followed up with some other hard questions.
I agree with
Don't
you.
they
Keep
should have
going.
followed up. They should have followed up. They should have allowed this young person who's now getting into the media fraternity to be treated like that.
I agree.
He
I
is
agree.
he a public servant? Is he paid from the public purse, taxes paid to him?
Of course.
So if he calls a press conference, shouldn't he be prepared for questions, hard questions? Because this is a situation they were celebrating as one of the biggest things in terms of transaction and handling people's money. He should have been prepared. And if there are questions to be answered, the simplest answer said that it could have been the survey, the final cost would be reflected in our annual report. How dare him insult that, use that insulting and rude behavior to a young reporter? And they believe that is right, because I have seen some press conferences where some of the more experienced reporters were treated in a poor way and they accepted it. So
Yeah.
when that happened, it is about what they put up with. That's why they chuckle and laugh and try to laugh it off. I think it was laughter of embarrassment that they
But
laughed.
somebody here saying no, they're training him or her to break them in to know. No, you don't ask those kinds of questions.
Really?
I remember being at a press conference with the DLP, and I was asking some hard questions. And some of them reporters, they want to leave. They don't want. After a certain time, they want to go. And one of them even let his phone ring just to disrupt the press conference. And I'm trying to ask proper questions.
Yes. If they're going to do a job, and their job is to inform the public and pass on honest information, that means hard questions must be asked of our public officials, and they must demand answers. This gentleman, honorable gentleman, get on as if the app belonged to him. And how dare you ask me how much it cost? That's just that you come and you have you bought something with your money, and I'm trying to ask you how much you pay for it. That's how we got on. And it was totally ridiculous. I don't understand how we continue to put up with this type of behavior, which I believe is a learned behavior copied from his boss. So therefore, if she gets away with it, then they can believe that they who have the ear of those persons believe that they can do the same thing. I saw somebody write that they're afraid of politicians. I want Barbadians to understand you cannot be afraid of the prime minister or the politician. They walk around and beg you for a vote. You understand that they beg you to put them in that position? So why are we afraid of them? And if we are afraid of them, why we do the same thing 3 times?
Correct.
So I expect that somebody would tell the honorable governor that he needs to apologize.
If he
It was
doesn't
in
apologize,
poor taste.
it's poor taste. It's dishonorable. What he did, it's bad. And all he's doing is following the spirit of the government. The spirit of this government. Do not ask us any questions.
But they beg us to they beg the public of Barbados, the voting public, those who voted, and put them there. How me don't ask you questions?
Wasn't she the same one riding around in the back of a truck on election day?
Yes.
Going to beg
Begging.
people, doing everything for Mr. Thorne not to be there. And now they want to speak to people like as though they don't.
Afraid? Marcia.
I know they're listening. Barbadians need to reach a point where they're fed up of this set here.
Of course. If we continue to put up with it, then we should take what we get. This is not how we are supposed to be. That is not the behavior of public officials paid from our public purse. This is not. Oh dear. Are you there, Marcia?
Yes, I'm right here.
Yes. This is not the behavior, because if you go into any other government office and it's treated like this, it be hell high water. And he sat before persons because he understands that this act or this BIMPay is supposed to affect across all financial institutions in Barbados. It is not working properly. There are issues with it. There are questions about its implementation. There are still questions. People are still not sure because we have had, and the questions are legitimate. We have had a lot of hacking of government offices in Barbados. So there is a period. We are in a period where we are hesitant, especially with things with cyberspace and things that can happen. We also want to know, because we are faced with a situation where we are now dealing with not knowing how the cost of Carifessa can move from 4 million to over 30 million. We are faced with situations where we have wastage in the last administration of millions. We are faced with a situation where our land was given away. We are faced with situations where over $200 million was allocated for foreign companies, and we are not supposed to ask questions. We must demand respect from this government. We must demand respect from the people who beg us to get in that position. We must demand respect and don't settle for anything else or anything less. And by tomorrow, people should be calling for the head of the central bank governor and carrying the title before his name is honorable.
I'm telling you, this is, I cannot believe that that there's not much outrage about this. And Pedro is saying the reporter should ask a follow-up question. If not, why not? Don't blame his age if he ain't ready for a battle. But Pedro, no, I understand to some extent, but
he was shut down.
He was shut down, Pedro.
Yes.
And this is a strong intern and don't forget the climate that we are in. It's a climate where the media don't really ask any serious questions at press conferences. So here is this intern trying to be a journalist. And this man in such a powerful position shuts down that young intern.
I tell him, we want to know what it costs for. We want to know what it costs for. You gonna pay for it?
That's terrible. That's disgusting. Every time I hear it, I get angry about it. And the people like, oh, Marcia, you're talking. This is a Christian man. I don't care. That's not Christian. That is not Christian. That's arrogance.
You say he's a Christian man?
Some of these Christian people, they
He
want.
need to check. If he's a Christian man, he need to go to the altar, right on his knees.
And then people, oh, don't take all of that. No, it takes all of that for that young reporter. Somebody has to stand up for the young reporter, and not just for the young reporter, Mr. Bob, but for the Barbadian public. It's our money.
Yes.
We need to apologize to Barbados.
But we had some money being paid out in Barbados, and up to today, nobody knows where it came from. We don't know if the $300 that was given to people was the correct amount. We don't know. All we know about it, that it was a what? It was not a windfall. They call it some name. I can find the name. But people were given $300. Nobody knew where it came from. Up to date, questions were asked. Some people say it should be more. They don't know it should be more. But this is how we are supposed to accept. This is what we're supposed to accept from our public officials.
Yes.
And these positions.
Mr. Bob, I want to seeing that that the central bank is in the hot seat right now. Okay? I want to start something on here this evening. Give me a few minutes, people. I want to ask the central bank just some questions. I don't know. I want to ask them some questions, and then we're going to open up the floor. Guys, give me about 5 minutes here. Give me about 5 minutes with them here tonight. Okay? 5 minutes. There have been some unverified allegations, and Dave, watch my comment. Don't put up anything. Watch the comments here for me, please, Dave. But there have been, careful what comes on the screen. Unverified allegations are circulating concerning a culture of sexual harassment within the central bank. Notice I said it's unverified allegations that are circulating concerning a culture of sexual harassment within the central bank. As a question I want to ask some questions about this, because I'm not here going to repeat the rumors. You guys know where the rumors are. And sometimes I tell you that some things I can't do that on my platform. I'm not here to repeat rumors on this platform. But I want to say something here tonight. I'm not not naming individuals. Where I'm not here to make any accusation. I'm not trying to. This is not taking anybody in a court of public opinion, right? However, there are currently unverified allegations and discussions circulating throughout Barbados that thousands of you saw it. Barbadians have seen concerning the culture within the Central Bank of Barbados. We do not know on the show whether these allegations are true. We do not know whether they are false. We do not know whether they're exaggerated, whether they're malicious or based on genuine experiences. But what we do know is this. When allegations concerning the culture of a major public institution become the subject of widespread public discussion, a bigger issue arises. It's about accountability. It's about public confidence. And the issue becomes whether employees within that institution, whether they feel safe, right? Respected, protected, and able to raise concerns without fear, right? In a large organizations, whether it is the central bank or other places, do employees know where to report their concerns? That's why sometimes they take it to certain podcasts. Sometimes that's all Bajans can do. And we say, oh, don't listen to that particular podcast. Well, sometimes that's the only way they can get out what's happening to them. Are whistleblowers protected? Can complaints be investigated independently? I'm speaking generally. Every workplace should have clear standards of professional conduct, whether or not these unverified claims are true. Every workplace, I thought, should have, that it is so in Barbados, should have policies dealing with harassment and inappropriate behavior. And why that is so important, because you don't want a person's reputation to be destroyed by unproven accusations. So you need to make sure that you're following the standards in the workplace so that people feel that they can report. Public institutions, they carry even a greater responsibility, you know, because they're funded by us, by taxpayers, and they exercise public authority. We expect public institutions to operate at the highest standards of professionalism and accountability. Agree? And this is bringing me to my final point now. Because the central bank is not just another workplace. The central bank is one of the most important institutions in this country. Barbadians are constantly being asked to place confidence in the central bank. We're being asked to do that right now. We trust the central bank to safeguard the financial system. We trust it to oversee any critical areas of the economy. That's where we get all the reports on the economy. We trust it to provide guidance on matters affecting, you know, the one could say the financial well-being of the country. And that's why the public confidence matters. So these unverified allegations about workplace culture circulating throughout the country, whether they are true or they're false, they inevitably raise questions in people's minds. Right? So if there's nothing there, then, you know, nothing is there. All right? And I think that I wanted to raise it in this climate tonight. I wanted to raise it in this climate tonight. Very important in this climate tonight. Important. And it goes for wherever. Okay? Yes. So let's move on and go back to BIMPay, but I had to get that out tonight. Because public institutions out there, whatever it is, if there are these things swirling around, somebody's got to come out and say something. Because you don't want people's reputation are at stake. And two, public confidence in that public institution. Okay? Back to you, Mr. Bob. Anything else on BIMPay? And the phone line is open.
No, I just we will observe what will happen, and during the next couple of days, if we are going to allow this kind of behavior, this is acceptable behavior for more public officials. This is what we expect now to be the norm at press conferences, that you are shut down if you're asking hard questions.
Good night. Good night. There's a call there, Mr. Bob. Go ahead. We're going to be quick and to the point because we have about 2 or 3 other calls waiting. Go right ahead, sir. Thank you for calling, Commissioner.
Tell Mr. Bob it's called the Solidarity Fund. It's $300.
Thank you. Thank you.
It was called the Lord, it slipped me again now. The solidarity, something solidarity fund.
I forgot the name, yeah.
That's it, not that's it. But my quick one, the government central bank, I never trusted him. I can tell you why. During the COVID, you know, when the prices in the supermarket started, you know, like a cancer in my pocket. Things was going up daily. People could hardly cope with it. And then one day I remember on the same brass stocks, I said me go back today, and I would call it the days of Elbar and Branford Tate. Do quick and look for the prices in the supermarkets, etc. I called and said, well, look, I tell Mr. Greenwich, let me bring back price control. Or I remember a businessman tell me it can't work. I know he is. That price control can't work. I saw, you see Kevin Greenwich, I mentioned that every price control can't work, but I don't give you a little ease of your pocket. In other words, give you a little raise increase. You know, you pay a little raise increase and the wages and salaries. Now, we could call with the prices in the supermarket. You know what he said the nation? The he give me a raise increase. And you can do more harm to the country than good. My God, Mr. Spear Kevin Greenwich, right? Since you come, is you, Motley, and Mr. Lagarde. You haven't done nothing good for this country. Yeah, they say to give you a proper salary, nothing. You like when you get a funeral, the priest, the Lord, give up, the Lord take up. Every day you can't hear from me. I don't want to hear nothing from one of them. I'm glad what they're doing today. I hear a press conference, I hear nothing. But the people say hate the streets when I hear the young man from Peyobi.
Yeah.
That young reporter. We can hit the streets.
I agree.
We can hit the streets. But in Barbados now, we don't sing. We are the we call it. We used to say, I swear to Almighty God something to help me God and the earth and something else. The thing that the Governor General. We are on the more that kind of thing no more. We on the Republic, I call it Republican and Sinners. Republican and Senators, when we was on the same thing, every day was marching. Every day was marching. Miss Martin called over, she said, so really, you take people going march. Tell my grandfather. I know we on this thing, the people can't march.
Yeah.
Oh, this thing happening to me?
And yeah, I want, listen, I'm ready to go when the people are ready, because if they're not ready, what's the point?
Well, listen, we just say we think the people are not ready. I tell the people in this country, you all frightened for Jezebel. Read the scriptures. One man? What? One man? I want to fight on this one man. Oh.
Yeah. But thank you so much. Thank you so much, Commissioner, for calling.
Yeah, man, we should hit the streets and insulting all of them, insulting people and cursing people and all kind of thing.
Yeah.
But business, well, I like Dennis Johnson and we like it so, not me, don't put me in it. They like it so. Have a good night, Marcia.
Thank you.
My man that did it with you, Mr. Thing. Good night to everybody.
Mr. Bob. Good night.
Another night.
Yes. Thank you so much. God bless you. Yes. Yes. All right. Okay. Mr. Bob, you were making a comment before. Okay, there's a call. A call coming in. I'm not seeing it. Okay. For some reason. That call, there's a problem there with that call. But go ahead, Mr. Bob. Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Bob.
No, I was just finishing the point that it was unacceptable behavior from our public officials, and we should not accept it from anyone. I hear some people making the comment that these people in power, they're not in power. They're in office. They were elected to serve.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Damn. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I need to have behavior. Somebody, I saw a picture. I'm sorry, Mr. Bob. Dave, can you put up that picture, please, about Winnie Rihanna? Put it up. Go ahead, Mr. Bob. You will see why I'm laughing.
Okay. These days you have to find something to laugh at, because the disgusting things that are happening in the name of governance will drive you crazy.
Oh, Lord of mercy. There's a caller on the line. Oh, my goodness. Good night, caller.
Hi, good night, Marcia. Can you hear me well?
Yes, we're hearing you.
Great. Good night, Comrade Bob. How are you doing? Marcia, honestly speaking, Dr. Kevin Greenwich really was not only the reporters of the media, which I saw handled him with kid gloves. This lot of Kadir saying Kadir is a Christian, or Kadir is Christian, like, that's nonsense for me, right? You know, he owed Barbadians an apology, because I remember that a couple of years back, I was texting her and the chat there. Around 2012 to 39, I'm coming back with I remember this. Then the same sound was done by the PM. Then a reporter asked them then a question, a very prominent media person who runs a particular program, one of the media houses. And she told him point blank, you can't answer that kind of question. Straight to him. And he, that is very senior, to change the question he was posing. So even back then, in 2012, and then I can give you another example, and I can send some information to you, Marcia, to show you what he was talking about. And then they had the looking on the Ram building and whatever it was supposed to be building, the Hayat machine built up to know yet. That's a different story for another time. Report passed the same PM action along with William Babylon.
Right. Okay. They're saying that your sound is not clear. So tell me, I can. You have to. No, you have to cut it short, because the people are saying the sound is not clear over and over. Marcia, we can't hear. We cannot hear, and it's true. So you might have to just quickly sum it up and let's go, because
okay. I will sum it up as this thing. I will sum it up as this. Dr. Greenwich has a right to respond to the people in a more respectable and favorable manner. This government in total and who works for this government have to remember that we, the electorate, are the bosses of them and not the other way around. Transparency and honesty needs to be had with them, and he needs to apologize or step down.
Thank you.
His position.
Thank you so much, caller. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. Guys, sorry about that. I heard him. I could hear him a bit, but I know it's a bit muffled. That's actually how the press conference sounded today, right? Some of the calls that if I'm missing your calls, we're not getting all the calls tonight. You might have to call back another time. But look at the screen. BIMPay. This is BIMPay according to the central bank. Mr. Bobby, looking. Again, let me just apologize to the calls. Some of the calls we did not get. BIMPay according to the central bank, and then BIMPay are launched. is hilarious. One thing with Bajan people, boy, they could laugh. According to the Central Bank, this is BIMPay on the left, and then BIMPay unlodged. Oh, Lord help me. Folks, we didn't get all the calls in tonight. Really sorry about that. Very sorry about that, guys. Oh my goodness. Sorry about that. But that is so funny to me. That is just hilarious. You know, sometimes that's the only thing you can do is laugh. Yeah,
It's true. True, very true. Help us get through. Help us get through this rough period, and it's been rough since 2018.
Oh, we have a caller. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, good night, Marcia and Mr. Bab.
Yes,
Now,
good night.
here we are
Good night.
again dealing with the question of governance.
Yes, sir.
And until we can truly resolve the question of governance in Barbados, we will continue to be in this predicament. And I want Barbadians to seriously ask themselves this particular question, because I asked myself, and I checked the answer, but I don't want to give the answer now. I want Barbadians to go and Google this question. Can a government commit crimes against the citizens? Right? Can a government commit crimes against the citizens? Google that question and see what answer you can get. But clearly, what we are having here is a manifestation of political gangsterism. That is thuggish behavior. However you look at what is going on in Barbados today, you can see persons in authority are behaving like thugs. And the response to the question of the reporter is a clear example of thuggish behavior, right? And that is because this government has lost all respect for the fundamental human and constitutional rights of Barbadians. And Barbadians need to recognize that and do something about it. No government has the right to make life-changing national decisions without consultation, agreement, and approval of citizens. And until we can recognize these things and also accept that governance in Barbados is undemocratic, unconstitutional, and until Barbadians can stand up and do something about what is happening to them, they will continue to suffer the mess that this government is throwing in their face.
Yes. Thank you so much, caller. Well said, and it makes us. We have to do some introspection as a people. You know,
of course,
yeah, and where we are, and you always bring that consciousness to us. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye.
Yes, I saw that that there were some other calls, Judy and others. We'll have to take those calls at another time. We started the calls too late this evening. So let's see if we can take some of those calls, if we can remember what they were, and we will take them on thing. All right. So let me take this call here. Okay, go ahead, Judy. Yes, good night, Judy. We're at 9:58, so we have to be really short.
Yeah, we're short. First, Simon Kevin should be fired. Second, he needs to apologize to that reporter and to the public. And this government needs to be out. This is not a proper government that we have here in Barbados. And good night, Marcia. Thank you very much. Have a pleasant night.
Yes.
I gone.
Thank you, Judy. So glad we could have accommodated you. Thank you for calling.
Thank you. I know, cause I know I'm gonna run late.
Yes. Yes.
All right, bye-bye. Hear you next time.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Bye-bye.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Judy's always on. Mr. Bob, we're going to close, but you know, I was so upset, but then this picture had me laughing, so I love it.
Yes.
Well, go ahead, Mr. Bob. It's a serious thing, but you know,
I
you
know.
have to sometimes.
No, I know this government don't like questions, but I can ask one here now, or several. Everyone. Only for that, because we are out of time. Is the BA-DMC planning to send home hundreds of employees?
Oh Lordy. You're gonna have to come back here on Wednesday. You say you're asking questions and put what you said though, the BA-DMC
Yes. Are there plans to send home hundreds of workers?
And why? Hundreds of workers?
And why?
And why? Anybody out there know if the BA-DMC is planning to send home hundreds of workers? If you know, message me now, please. Link me, because I'm telling you, we're going to have to deal with this. Andre Worrell is coming on dealing with workers' rights and all of that. So let's bring that on. Mr. Bob, you sure you're saying that correctly?
Yeah, we're seeing much concern raised even in the private sector here with the Williams about not being able to sustain the level of employment. And is the government now getting in on the act? And I understand that there'll be a meeting on Thursday. We will see what is the outcome of that meeting. I understand that they were told
with the union.
I don't know, probably with the workers, and I understand that they were told to start looking for jobs
at the BA-DMC, but we don't know. I wonder if this is true. So we will put that out there. We need some information.
There's a meeting on Thursday. I understand that there's a meeting on Thursday with the workers, and some were already told to start looking for jobs. And we are wondering why. And we are wondering why they have reached that stage.
Wow, interesting.
Yes,
I tell you,
we don't like questions, especially when because the people of Barbados, because they want to keep their pick, will keep quiet, but they are going to whisper because they're concerned, but they still are very concerned about their family.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Bob. Thank you for coming on. I know you had training and everything today, and somebody is asking who pays the governor.
I asked that too.
You asked the question, who pays the governor? And I just wanted to say, I think I answered it wrongly. I was more answering who is the governor accountable to. But
that's true.
Right, the governor is paid by the Central Bank of Barbados. It's not directly by Parliament, okay, or a government ministry. Somebody corrected me on that. Okay. However, we understand, you know, that the governor is accountable to the board of directors, right? And all of that is under a statutory framework, and we can pick that up on Wednesday, hopefully. All right.
Yes, I'm going to come back with this, because I understand that there's a matter of a cost overrun of $5.5 million last year, and
where
the same BA-DMC. I want to know if that is true. If that is true, that they're dealing with a cost of $5.5 million cost overrun, and it has to do with mostly of salaries And these people seem to be coming from a particular area up yours in the east.
Mr. Bob, you make sure you come back on here on Wednesday. Everybody join on Wednesday. Join Wednesday here. Join Wednesday. Oh my goodness, what a show we had tonight. Again, Derek Alleyne has sent me his what he wanted to speak on, but I think sometimes based on where he is, he doesn't have the Wi-Fi.
Yes, and I was pretty shocked tonight, so I was glad I was able to get on to support. And there is a question that you missed, and you noticed that we were having some problems at the secondary school in St. Thomas about the dust and thing, and I don't think that situation has been remedied as yet. So we're waiting to see what will be done, because it is very uncomfortable. I work there, and it's very uncomfortable every day. Every day. Yes, every day.
Every day you're having that.
And you don't know what you're breathing in.
Yeah.
So good night. I want to thank you for having me. I will try to get in on Wednesday night because we have to get the answer to these questions, or we will wait until Thursday or Friday to find out if the meeting took place, if the layoffs occurred, and why there was a cost overrun, and where the most of the layoffs came from.
Yeah.
Which constituency or parish?
Our parish. Wow, interesting. Interesting. We can't wait to hear that. Somebody's going to call us.
Yes.
Thank you again, Mr. Bob. Thank you to our attorney, Corey Beckles, and thank you to Mr. Maurice. His name has gone on my head, but I'm gonna get the name right now. It's after 10 and I'm tired. But his name, Mr. Maurice Gaskin. Mr. Maurice Gaskin did a fantastic presentation on how to make your home rodent-proof. And he comes compliment of Dr. Hines. Dr. Hines is who has put him on to us and arranged it. And he's actually, making it possible. And we want to thank Dr. Roderick Hines for putting that presentation together for us. And thank you, Mr. Bob, for joining us. All right.
Most welcome.
You all, everybody. Thank you, Dave. Thank you. Yes.
All right. Good night. Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
All around Bajans, get it dust out.
All right.
Love again. It's the same old story. One party will reign in this sweet country. No opposition in parliament, but tell the powers that be that doesn't give them license to run free. Although we give them the mandate to run the country for we the people are still the ruling party. We planning to jump up when we disagree. Jump up when they jamming we will let them know the cost of this country. Jump up and take a stand. Jump up and put up we hand, cause we are the ruling party. And if we have to whine, we will whine surely, cause we are the people's party. And we vote to jump up and stand up and speak up. We waiting to see if what's in the manifesto things they promise we. Will they fly over and go the conflict up in the Middle East? will have some impact, we know, but that will not set our expectations low. And if we ever see some of them with their egos getting too large, we won't hesitate to show them who is in charge. We planning to jump up when we disagree, jump up when they jamming we will let them know the pulse of this country. Jump up and take a stand, jump up and put up we hand, cause we are the ruling party. And if we have to whine, we will whine surely, cause we are the people's party. And we vow to jump up and stand up and speak up. It is up to we to hold them accountable, most importantly, working for us the people, not serving their own self-interest and forget to put them in day, cause we the people, we will have the last say. And when it comes to Barbados, well, we Bajans don't play. We ain't standing for no BS bout hey. We planning to jump up when we disagree, jump up when they jamming we will let them know the pulse of this country. Jump up and take a stand, jump up and put up with the hand, cause we are the ruling party. And if we have to whine, we will whine surely, cause we are the people's party. And we vow to jump up and stand up and speak up. Politicians dancing across the floor, it's amazing. It's the rhythm of politics that's keeping them moving. We got to stay vigilant, we got to stay focused, cause we the people, we are the heart of Barbados. We planning to jump up when we disagree, jump up when they jamming we will let them know the pulse of this country. Jump up and take a stand, jump up and put up we hand, cause we are the